Hi there, welcome to Clue 1 of the Trigpoint Shawl Mystery Knit Along. I hope you're excited to get started. This little video tutorial shows you the very beginning of the shawl. It shows you the cast on and the beginning of Clue 1. So while it's not a huge spoiler, if you're trying to keep it secret, you would be better to avoid the video. If you're worried about spoilers, it shows a little bit but not too much. So you could even just watch the first bit with the cast on and then skip the rest. But use it how you like, but hopefully you find it useful, and I look forward to seeing the beginning of your shawl on social media. I've completed my little I-cord, which is the setup for Clue 1 with colour A, which is this dark brown. And now I'm ready to do the little I-cord tab. So I have knitted 3 stitches, the 3 stitches, and I'm going to turn my work 90 degrees clockwise like this. And then I'm going to do a little combination of picking up stitches along here and also making a yarn over it. So I want to miss out this stitch that's the next stitch after the one on the needles. So I'm skipping that one, and I'm going to pick up in this next stitch down. So I just put my needle tip through 2 legs of a stitch there, wrap my yarn around and pull that loop through, and then I am going to make a yarn over. I'm going to skip the next stitch, which is this one, and I'm going to pick up a stitch the next one along, which is here, and just the same thing again, going through 2 legs of the stitch to knit. So I've got my 3 stitches from the I-cord. I've picked up one, made a yarn over, and I've picked up another one, and now I'm going to turn my work another 90 degrees, and I'm going to pick up 3 stitches from this cast on edge here. So just take your time over this. It can be a little bit fiddly to see where to pick up, but if it doesn't look right, just take it out and do it again. So I'm going to do one there. I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do one here. So I'm trying to go under 2 strands each time. And I'm going to go under here. So when you finish doing it, you should end up with 9 stitches. And if something looks a bit funny, like that one there, can you see there's like a little bar at the bottom? I'm going to redo that one because that doesn't look very neat. What you're trying to get is trying to make it look like a sort of continuous line of the I-cord. So actually I might just go under that little bar that was there. And then pick up one here in the middle and pick up one on the edge there, and then I'll see how that looks. That looks better. Okay, and then you work your wrong side row, and then work, there's 4 more rows of the setup to work, and then I'll show you how to do the next part. I finished the setup section, and I'm now moving on to the main pattern repeat, which is going to use a technique called knit and slide or double pass. And what that means is we work the right side with the first colour, and then we slide the stitches back along our circular needle, and we do the right side again with our second colour, and we then turn the work and we work the wrong side with the first colour, and we slide the stitches back along and we work the wrong side with the second colour. Now the instructions tell you when to slide and when to turn, but we're basically working 2 right sides and then 2 wrong sides. Okay, and I'm just going to show you how to do the first few rows of this. So I've already got my yarn A attached here. The edges of this are an I-cord, so they are always worked. The first three in whatever row are always worked, so that might be knitted or it might be purled, and then when you get to the last three, they're always slipped. So on this right side they're slipped with the yarn in the back, and when we move around to the wrong side they're going to be slipped with the yarn in the front. Okay, so I'm going to knit my I-cord stitches here, then I'm going to do an increase, so a knit, yarn over knit in the same stitch, so knit the stitch, make a yarn over and knit it again, and then we'll knit to the last three, and then I'm going to slip three with the yarn in the back, which is where it already is, so I don't need to move it at all. Okay, now I'm going to slide the stitches back along, ready to work the right side again. And what I should have done was to grab a stitch marker to go in the front here. So I'll just do that. Okay. So at the moment we're working in garter stitch, so the right side and the wrong side look pretty much the same. So if you put a stitch marker in the right side, that will help you keep track of where you are. Okay, so I've slid my stitches back along and I'm ready to start working here with my second yarn, which is this speckled one. So I'm going to knit the first three I-cord stitches, and then I'm going to purl this time along till they get to the last three. And then I put my yarn to the back and slip the last three stitches there. And now I've done the right side with my yarn A and I've done it with my yarn B, and now I'm going to turn to work the wrong side. Okay, so on the wrong side here I can see that my two working yarns are just hanging here waiting for me to work the I-cord stitches. My two tails are here. If you want to, you could tie them together so you don't get confused and start working with the tail, which, let's face it, happens to us all at one time or another. Okay, so again I'm starting with my yarn A, which is the dark brown, and I'm going to purl the three I-cord stitches this time. And then on this wrong side I am purling along with my yarn A along to the last three I-cord stitches. And then I'm going to slip the I-cord stitches with my working yarn in the front, which is where it already is. Just tighten that one up. That's where my tail is, and then I'm not going to turn. I can see that my yarn B is still over here, so I'm not turning until they're both at the end here, at the needle tip end. So I'm going to slide them back along and work the wrong side row with my yarn B. And again, you're always starting with the three I-cord stitches being worked, so on the wrong side they're going to be purled. So purl these three, and then we just purled with A, so we're going to knit with B, and we just knit along. So the only time there's anything different happening is the right side row with the yarn A where you're doing the increase. That's the only kind of extra thing that you need to do on these rows. And I need to slip the last three with my yarn in front, so I've been knitting my working yarns at the back, just bring it to the front and then slip these three. You can do them one at a time or you can do them all at once. I've got quite pointy needles, so that helps. And now I've got both yarns here at the needle tip. I can turn ready to work the next set of 4 rows. Okay, when I can start to see this sort of striping happening. So using this technique means that you can do single row stripes whilst working flat. Usually if you were striping, when you're working flat, you have to do 2 rows at a time. You have to do a right side and a wrong side. This technique means we can do 2 right sides followed by 2 wrong sides, and we alternate the yarn colours to give us single row stripes. Okay, so I'm ready. I'm going to show you, do one more set of 4 rows again, just to show you. So I'm starting with my yarn A. So I always work the first 3 stitches. Now that one's a bit loose there because that's the tail, so I'll just tighten that up. Then I have an increase to work in that first stitch, and then I knit to the end, and I slip my last 3 stitches. Okay, and then I just slide my stitches along, and I'm ready to work my yarn B. So always work the first 3 I-cord stitches, and then I'm purling. And then when I get to my last 3, I want to slip with the yarn in the back. And you might notice that that previous stitch has gone a wee bit loose there. So you might just need to tighten that up slightly. Okay, now both of my yarns are at the needle tip, so I can turn. And I'm going to do my first wrong side row with my yarn A. So this time I'm purling the I-cord edges. You want to keep them quite loose because they're only getting worked every second row in effect. And then I'm purling along with my yarn A. And then when I get to my last 3, I'm just slipping them with the yarn in front, which is where it already is. If you wanted to, you could put markers in before and after the 3 edge stitches, just to help you remember. I'm going to slide back along to do my wrong side row with my yarn B. So purling the I-cord stitches on the wrong side, and then I'm going to knit along. So it might take you a few rounds of doing these 4 rows for you to get the kind of sequence in your head of sliding and then turning, and also of whether you're knitting or purling. But as I say, apart from the increase on the right side row when you're working in yarn A, that's the only sort of extra thing you need to think about. So I've got to the last 3 stitches here, and I'm going to slide them with the yarn in front. So I'll just bring it around here and slip them across like that, and I've got both of my yarns back at the needle tip, ready to turn and work the right side again. So you can see it works up quite quickly because every kind of sequence of 4 rows, you're knitting 4 rows. So by the time you get back round to the front, you've completed 4 rows. So I'll let you continue on with the rest of clue 1, and I'll be back next time to show you how to work clue 2.